So Barret,
Yes.
occasionally when you sit down in that chair, playing me the clip before we take it to air, I sit here and I go, how the hell did you get that right? Then Barret tells me off the microphone, no, he's actually friends with the wife and the person who we're about to speak to. And I just realized that you are such a social, gregarious, wonderful human being to other people. And this story is going to prove that. So go on. I'm going to let you tell me the story. Tell me the lead up the way you told me off the microphone.
So basically, I was doing that 80s show previously to Celeb Savant, and I wanted to interview this person.
Yeah.
And I reached out to them, and they came back and said, cool, I can interview him, but we have to use his new name. So I interviewed him for that 80s show, and became friends and so forth. And now I wanted to interview him for the audience of Celeb Savant. So this guy is now known as Sananda Maitreya.
Wait. Sananda Maitreya.
Sananda Maitreya, yes.
Got you. Okay.
He was originally Terence Trent D'Arby, that's the name he was born as. But he had situations whereby certain people in the industry were jealous of him when he was up and coming. And with their influence, because they had a lot of influence at the time, very popular, they managed to get him squashed, kicked out. I'm not sure of the exact story because he didn't want to dive deeply. He touched
That's
on
his
it.
story, yeah.
And because he had such negative connotations and feelings and energy towards that name, Terence Trent D'Arby, he changed his name to Sananda Maitreya.
So, it's weird because I'm going to just pause you there for
Exactly.
a second. I've often said, I wonder what's happened to Terence Trent D'Arby after I played his big song, Wishing Well, and all of those.
Dance Little Sister.
Yeah, Dance Little Sister, exactly.
Sign your name.
and now you say that he's Sananda Maitreya.
Yes.
So what is he doing?
Oh, no, he's releasing music all the time, going on tour. He had a new album last year. He's got new albums every couple of years, but he's doing it independently, out...
Away from Terence Trent D'Arby.
Exactly.
Wait, let's play the clip of what he has to say about that change, and then we'll talk about it, okay?
The way forward was to have the faith to jump into a completely new identity, to reinvent myself completely. And though it may be difficult, it was something that would pay off in the end. And I didn't need to be convinced. I was, in fact, happy to find a solution because it would have been difficult anyway. And one thing, Barret, that I've come to understand and appreciate very much is that in any event, as you very well know, and many of your listeners have already found out for themselves, there is a great degree to which we are going to suffer this life. At least for a period of our lives, we're going to go through our suffering. But what I've found is that if we're going to suffer anyway, it is much better to suffer your life than it is to suffer anyone else's.
I'm still fascinated because I thought Terence Trent D'Arby just stopped making music. He didn't. He changed his name and he's carried on. Has he ever been as big as Terence Trent D'Arby was, though?
No. If I remember correctly, when we spoke on the original interview for that 80s show, he did mention that before George Michael, those suings of artist to record label, he sued, I can't remember which record label it was at the time, and he won. And he did it before George Michael did it. He was one of the first artists to do it and win. So, fascinating story.
Wow.
But like he says in the clip, we're all going to suffer. We're all going to have challenges. So it's about facing those and diving into them and understanding that and suffering for your own, not taking on other people's stories and journeys, and just doing it instead of running away.
Barret contextualized for me off the microphone, but it's worth sharing that Sananda is quite averse to being called Terence Trent D'Arby in any interview for personal reasons. And let's not go into it. That's his boundary. But here's the thing, is that you cannot escape the fact that you did speak to what we now know as Terence Trent D'Arby being Sananda Maitreya.
Yeah.
That is fascinating for me. You've taught me something today that I never knew. The full, very interesting and in-depth podcast is up on the blog. Please do yourself a favor. Go and listen to Terence Trent D'Arby or Sananda Maitreya's full story. to get the context of exactly what you spoke about. That's gold, man. Thanks, Barret. That's gold. Pick us up on all the socials. Well, pick Barret up on all the socials.
Celeb Savant, CELEB, Savant, SAVANT, Celeb Savant.
That's gold today, my friend. Thank you.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
next week.
Bye.